Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We are talking all about last night's Champions League action once again, as the second game in the group stages concluded yesterday with some big results, and again one or two slightly more shocking results here and there that played out last night. But before we go any further in talking about any of these games, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get into the video, into talking about last night's Champions League action, beginning with a very late victory for Manchester United. Yes, we're going to begin with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side, who were victorious last night over an old foe in Villarreal. This was, of course, the repeat fixture of last season's Europa League final, in which ended in a 1-1 draw, but Villarreal ended up winning on penalties, as United got a very important 3 points in the Champions League group stages this time around. But he has a very late Cristiano Ronaldo goal to thank for that. Villarreal had the better of the chances, particularly in the first half, and eventually took the lead in the second half. But that goal only seemed to awaken United somewhat, as on the hour mark, Alex Telles struck to get the Red Devils back on level terms. And just as the game looked like it was going to be ending in a draw, that man again, Cristiano Ronaldo, stepped up when it mattered most for his club and fired home the winner to take all 3 points. Villarreal will in the end be kicking themselves for not getting anything from this game. They had a number of decent opportunities, but they just failed to take their chances when it mattered most. And in the end, Solskjaer once again lives to fight another day. He gets away with it yet again. Whilst the Spanish side had the better of the chances, it was a combination of bad finishing and the superb form of goalkeeper David De Gea that denied them from scoring more. As well as the Spanish goalkeeper being on form last night, Solskjaer also has to thank Ronaldo for getting the winner, of course. They were definitely the heroes and saviours for Solskjaer last night. A much needed win for United, especially after losing to Young Boys last week in the opening game of the group stages. But with Atalanta on the horizon for United in back-to-back fixtures in the groups, it is obviously going to be a very tough couple of games ahead for the Red Devils. This group is looking very interesting as things stand right now, and hopefully going forward it only gets more and more intriguing. Also last night Chelsea were in action, but they didn't have quite as much as the same level of success as what United did, as they ended up losing 1-0 to Juventus. Federico Chiesa continues his rise in the famous black and white shirt of the Italian Giants, as his goal, mere seconds following the restart in the second half, proved to be the only difference maker on the night, as Max Allegri's side came out with the victory and the 3 points. Back-to-back defeats now in all competitions for the Blues, but in terms of competition and in terms of the Champions League, they are still of course on course to qualify into the knockout stages and should do so. Juventus was always going to be their toughest test in this group. Juventus, despite not doing so well domestically, always seemed to turn up within European competitions, and that's how it's proved so far in this campaign, defeating the current holders of this competition. But should things continue to go how they are going, and as predicted, the return fixture of this game at Stamford Bridge on match day 5 of the group stages may well decide who finishes top or second in this group, because these are the two teams, like I say, that are expected to advance to the knockout stages. That game at Stamford Bridge on match day 5 could be huge in determining who gets a slightly more favourable draw maybe, and who is going to get a bit more of a tougher draw supposedly, when of course the knockout stage draw, the round of 16 draw, gets to play out. But we're still a long way away. There's still a lot of football to be played before we can be looking ahead to the knockout stages. Chelsea obviously now will look to bounce back and regroup ahead of the upcoming weekend's Premier League fixtures. They'll want to return to winning ways. But Chiesa and Juventus, very impressive here, and that's the bottom line. Fair play to Juventus. Elsewhere last night, Atalanta beat Swiss side Young Boys 1-0. The other two teams that are in Manchester United's group, of course, meaning that United move up to third place whilst being level on points with Young Boys and 1 point behind the group leaders currently, which are Atalanta, of course. Zenit St. Petersburg thrashed Swedish side Malmo 4-0. A fairly predictable result, that one. Malmo, as expected, are the quote-unquote whipping boys of the group so far. They've been absolutely beaten and battered by both Zenit and Juventus so far. And with Chelsea coming up next for them, I'd expect that the Blues will run rampant in those two games in particular. Red Bull Salzburg beat Lille 2-1 in the same group as Wolfsburg and Sevilla, who played out a 1-1 draw last night. A great night for Salzburg, with everybody else in the group dropping points. They currently have a 2-point lead at the top of that particular group. And Bayern Munich came out as 5-0 winners against Dynamo Kiev. Things running smoothly for the German club there, as you'd expect. 2 wins from 2 games, 8 goals scored, the joint top amount of goals scored in the competition so far alongside Liverpool. None conceded so far, arguably definitely the best defensive record so far. They are seemingly sailing through the group stages and into the knockout stages with very little to no problem at all. No issues so far, and you'd expect their form and this kind of dominance to continue going forward. However, the same cannot be said for Barcelona, another team in their group. They endured another horrible night as they lost 3-0 to Benfica to heap more pressure onto manager Ronald Koeman. It definitely doesn't look good for Barcelona. That is 2 losses now out of 2. But with Kiev coming up, maybe their fortune may be able to turn around. Maybe a late push for that second place qualifier. Or at the worst, you'd expect them to get Europa League. But if it gets even worse than the worst, I'd hate to think what it would be like if they failed to get out of their group. Just saying. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of last night's Champions League action? What do you make of Manchester United's late winner, thanks to Cristiano Ronaldo, that gave them the 3 points against Villarreal? What do you make of Chelsea losing to Juventus? Do we read a little bit more into it, or is it just one of them results that was always going to be tough to get from Juventus? And what do you make of the other games that happened last night? What do you make of the Atalanta result against Young Boys, particularly from a Man United fans' perspective, with them two teams being in your group? What do you make of Zenit St. Petersburg absolute thrashing of Swedish side Malmo? The Salzburg result, the Sevilla draw with Wolfsburg, and of course Bayern Munich sailing through, and maybe even more importantly, Barcelona once again having a horrific night in the Champions League, and more pressure being thrown onto the more doom and gloom of Ronald Koeman. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video.